Doris froze in the kitchen doorway, her fingers gripping the door jamb until her knuckles turned white. Arnold was muttering about Soviet spies and time capsules while jabbing a kitchen knife at the microwave, the blade scratching silver scars across its battle-worn surface. She noticed he'd squeezed into her wedding shoes, pearly white pumps now distorted by his swollen feet. "Arnie, sweetheart, hand me the knife," she coaxed like someone asking for butter at a church potluck. Inside, her guts twisted into an ice ball. 47 years of marriage had taught her panic only fed his delusions. He turned, and for a heartbeat, something familiar flickered in his milky eyes. "Mama, you brought the bunker key." The knife clattered against the table edge where a dog-eared hospice pamphlet lay. Doris edged forward like approaching a rabid raccoon, the stench of urine mingling with her morning Folgers into something poisonous. The disarming operation took 7 minutes. When the knife finally rested in the sink and Arnold sat mesmerized by Price is Right with a jar of Jif, Doris found herself at the hutch housing her porcelain elephants. The LED bulb's glare exposed hairline fractures. The 1983 near miss with the vase, the 2001 attorney fee blowout. The newest elephant, purchased after the diagnosis, had lost its trunk when he'd hurled it during a Sundowners episode. She pressed the broken tusk to her chest, feeling it dig through her cotton blouse. Downstairs, a floorboard creaked. Lena, the home health aide, always 20 minutes late. Doris wiped her cheeks with Walmart rough palms and descended to greet the woman she privately called the guardian of my sanity. "Mr. Arnold was sharing spy stories again," Lena said, untying her Skechers slower than Manila ICU nurses changed dressings. "Sometimes I think his dementia's just reacting to that Reagan portrait in your den." The joke reeked of pity. Doris forced a laugh, scratching where his laundry basket had struck her left shoulder blade 3 days prior. "He's been seasoning his mashed potatoes with tracking devices tonight. Maybe check the microwave for, hidden cameras?" Alone in her bead-curtained sanctuary with its 70s Panasonic radio, Doris opened the Martha Stewart planner. Page 63. Texas, dug into the paper like cuneiform. Below, columns subtracting reverse mortgage debts, realtor fees from their savings. $127,400 remained. A ghostly bridge between purgatory and possibility. A crash downstairs sent her pen rolling. Arnold stood amid photo frame shards, their Grand Canyon anniversary snapshot now a jigsaw puzzle. "They've been listening through the glass," he jabbed at splinters. "All these years. Voices in the walls." As Lena reached for him, Doris waved her off. Kneeling among the debris like she'd done after countless tantrums, she murmured, "Remember when we thought the kids would tumble off that cliff? You went for cokes and came back wearing that cowboy hat." His eyes widened. Calloused fingers, once steady, sandalwood scented, grazed her wrinkled cheek. "Darling, they're stealing our time." The words cracked her mental vault. She fled to the basement where Christmas ornaments neighbored Depends packages. Behind spider webs and forgotten eyeglass cases, Doris unearthed the earring box. 15 grand in Benjamin smelled not of freedom, but betrayal. Returning, she found the laundry door ajar. Arnold sat mesmerized by the tumbling dryer. "Spaceship," he whispered. "Ready for launch, Commander?" She leaned against the doorframe, realizing they hadn't traveled anywhere since Bush Sr. was president, not even to Portland, Oregon to see their granddaughter. At sunset, Doris returned to her bedroom, clutching Aunt Marge's wedding silver platter. Her reflection warped like old home movies. "Porcelain elephants," she whispered. "Your shadows crush me." The platter shattered against the fireplace grate. As glass shards glittered in twilight, Doris arranged them on the carpet. TEXAS. The S required 2 fragments from the clock that stopped at 2:17, the time their stillborn daughter had entered the world. Next morning, as Lena fed Arnold oatmeal spiked with meds, Doris dialed the realtor. Her voice sounded alien, vocal cords rebelling after decades of silence. "Mr. Baker, we're selling. Everything, even the stained glass." A pause. Keys clattered through the phone. "Expect lowballs. Queen Anne Hill homes need updates." she interrupted, watching Arnold spit oatmeal onto Lena's scrubs. Take any offer, but make them promise. The elephants stay. The realtor was right. The house sold in 3 weeks, but the price cut deeper than Arnold's infamous toaster incident. Doris stood on the porch watching movers lug her wedding china in cardboard coffins. The U-Haul's shadow stretched across the lawn like a giant Rorschach blot, swallowing decades of weed wars with what now felt like old friends. Looks like someone's running their own PBS special on acid, huh? Bill from next door nodded at the moving chaos. Arnold's medical files chest-bumping a box labeled Ugly Christmas Sweaters, 1992-2010. Doris flashed a plastic smile, her pocket clutching a Xanax bottle. The wool glove hid scratches from last night's episode when Arnold mistook her for a burglar, fingernails digging trenches in her wrist. Inside, Lena bandaged Arnold's finger. He'd tried to save the family tree by tearing out the page with their stillborn son. Thinks Texas cockroaches are higher priority than commie spies, the home health aide muttered, sweeping picture frame shards. Doris nodded mechanically, her gaze snagged on a ceiling crack mirroring Seattle's coastline. Each night it whispered secrets. The hospice doctor's bourbon breath, their daughter's unopened letters. Moving chaos amplified Arnold's delirium. Wednesday, socks stuffed in the toaster to block spy frequencies. Friday, under the dining table shredding his face from photo albums. Doris fished glossy scraps from the washing machine filter, sprinkled with melatonin dust. 3 a.m. on departure eve. Arnold slept tranquilized while Doris sorted pill bottles in the bathroom. The flickering bulb cast shadows over Dr. Emerson's just-in-case morphine gift. Her trembling hands scattered capsules across porcelain. She was scooping them up when a voice rasped, "Sweetheart, we forgot the magnolias." Arnold stood framed in doorway, robe gaping to reveal his latest bruise. For one heartbeat, she saw the 1976 man who'd called her dress the prettiest cloud in Texas. Doris clutched the pills, capsule edges biting her palm. We watered them, honey." Her voice shook worse than his hands. "Tomorrow we'll plant new ones, where palms keep watch instead of snow." He blinked slowly, drool spotting his collar. Palms curl like your hair in wind. Fingers twitched, replaying their old dance, twisting her curl around his pinky. Doris froze, terrified movement would shatter the mirage. His hand felt limp against door jamb. "Mom? Mama? Did I die?" Arnold turned, stumbling over the threshold. Doris gripped the sink, feet glued to tile by invisible grief. 23 grand wouldn't buy her the right to be darling instead of mom again. The morphine rustled in her fist, winking promises. Morning brought the first lightning strike. Daughter Carol's call exploded from a basket of kitchen towels as Lena buckled Arnold into his wheelchair. "Ma, you signed a deal with the devil. They're slapping a demolition order." Doris let the phone drop. Her hands autopiloted, wiping phantom coffee rings. Arnold mumbled about horses in the closet while Lena wrestled his sneakers. On screen, Carol's pixelated face mouthed silent fury. The truck honked outside. Driver Pete, dimpled, Creedence cassette in hand, cracked knuckles before paperwork. "Ma'am, you sure about hauling porcelain zoo animals? Real Texans prefer gator taxidermy." Doris stroked newspaper-wrapped figurines. The bottom elephant lost its leg that morning. Arnold used it as a doorstop. "These survived more than your swamp critters," she said, half listening to Lena argue prescription transport laws. Her final house walk became a cemetery tour. EV bags dangled from attic rafters like macabre Christmas lights. The wedding dress in the crawl space had shrunk to Barbie size, pocket still holding a crumpled Silver Spur motel keycard from 2001. She nearly dropped her flashlight hearing. "Commander, engines primed." Arnold sat throne-strapped in the U-Haul. Lena fought to insert classical music earbuds. Disabled emergency flashers twice. Thinks they're KGB transmitters. Doris climbed into the passenger seat, knees popping. The open photo album showed their first dance. Arnold leaned over, drool blooming on yellowed Polaroid. "Pretty lady," he slurred. "You know her?" "Long ago." She snapped the album shut, hiding behind sunglasses. The I-5 on-ramp welcomed them with maple leaf rain, sticky fingers clinging to windshield. Midnight brought Vietnam-era show tunes and headbanging against airbag. Doris doubled his sedatives, sneaking whiskey from Pete's flask. And LA or bust semi winked past, headlights sinking with her dread. What terrified more, him dying en route or waking under Texas magnolias as strangers? Day 3. AC died. Arnold thrashed shirtless on backseat, ribcage like a washboard. Doris soaked a bandana in thermos water, squeezing most down her neck. The rearview mirror showed her sweat-blurred face, that same China figurine look from the '79 flood. "Check this prairie light show, Grandma." Pete swerved onto gravel bypass. Dust devils danced insane ballets. Arnold fell silent, tracking tumbleweed pirouettes. Doris closed her eyes, breathing sagebrush. The truck lurched. She white-knuckled the door handle. Pete cursed over steering. Arnold cackled, his first real laugh in weeks. "Meteor shower. Project Blue Book warned us." Fingers drummed greasy prints on glass. Doris turned. The shattered side mirror reflected landscape shards and her face cracks. She realized the stained glass windows withstood sledgehammers better than her smile hid pain. The Starlight Motel parking lot blurred realities. While Lena massaged Arnold's legs, Doris found a soda machine mirroring the one from Carol's birth hospital. A stuck quarter made her knee the vintage Pepsi logo, Rita Hayworth's plane scattering. "Need help, ma'am?" A trucker with mom neck tattoo offered $1. Doris shook her head, fishing out petrified bubble tape. "Been fighting machines since your granddaddy's big wheel days." She returned with ice for Arnold's compress. The TV advertised memory care centers. He traced Lena's dented pillow. "Darling, you," he rasped at the commercial actress with 1973 hair. Ice cubes rolled across floral carpet mirroring their first apartment. Bathroom lights sliced through dark. "Crossing into Texas tomorrow." The TV doctor promised dignified care. Lena killed the screen. Silence fell like guillotine. 4 a.m. Doris crawled across the parking lot. The U-Haul slept under alien stars, chalk graffiti on its flank. "Texas or death." She smudged death with her sleeve, leaving sun rays around Texas. Returning, she stepped on an unpacked elephant, broken trunk, now a nightmare dagger. The shard settled in her pocket. Their collection's weight would live in her bones now. Sunrise at the New Mexico border. Arnold woke screaming about time capsules. Pete cursed through cargo inspection. Doris paid for gas when crashing sounds erupted. Arnold was dismantling the meds box, pills skittering like dinosaur bones. "Commander, we need you!" he yelled, hurling Ritalin bottles. Doris gripped his shoulders, sharp collarbone through thin cotton. His eyes darted like trapped mice. "Arnold David Walker," her 1987 Safeway adultery voice. "Stand down, report status." He froze. Gas fumes hung thick. A droplet slid down Doris's cheek. Sweat or tears, same difference. Arnold saluted sloppily. "Fuel critical. Stellar refuel required." "Approved," she whispered. Pete watched sipping Coke, a bargain bin melodrama audience. But for Doris, only Arnold existed, her lunatic captain of the sinking ship, marriage. The delay stretched under hateful sun. When tires finally crossed, "Welcome to Texas," Doris exhaled. Arnold slept drooling on the window. Lena bandaged her own bloody finger, medkit war wounds. The road coiled like exhaustion. Silhouetted palms resembled diorama cutouts. They'd forgotten the living room curtains. Strangers would now watch rain pool in their loneliness. A pothole jolted Doris alert. Pete veered onto a dirt road, cursing a flat. The truck listed. China elephants avalanched. Arnold screamed, turtle posting under seatbelt. Doris scrambled into the cargo bay, knees shredding on metal. One by one, she unwrapped figurines swaddled in her former life's headlines. The broken-trunked elephant shattered on a tool chest. Doris lifted a shard mirroring their stillborn's onesie pattern. Pete's shout spun her around. Arnold fled toward scrubland, a bathrobed mad prophet. Doris gave chase, heart pounding, deep in the heart of Texas. Sand filled her sneakers. She found him collapsed by a cactus, hugging thorns. Should be graveyard here. Her legs buckled. Heat, pebbles, metallic fear, reality soup. She leaned against spikes. We're always at graveyards, Arnie. Or not. A flicker of clarity. He turned with cloudy eyes seeking hers. Doris, lost? Her heart leapt. She took his scarred hand. Yes, but roads get made by walking. Pete and Lena labored across desert with first aid. Arnold suddenly laughed, pointing skyward. A cloud elephant drifted toward Texas, carrying shadows of their porcelain past. The desert drank their screams like a sponge soaking up a child's tears. Doris pressed her palm against Arnold's arm wound. A cactus spine had left a gaping gash resembling their road trip map. Blood seeped through her blouse hem, transforming cotton into abstract expressionism. Lena dumped the first aid kit contents onto sand, cussing out Walmart's pharmaceutical penny pinching. Arnold sniffled, smearing grime across his face as Pete chased wind-whipped bandages. "Ma'am, next town's 20 miles out," a trucker's voice startled Doris. She squinted up at the man with a mom neck tattoo gesturing to his CB radio. "Could call paramedics, but there's no!" Her shout cut sharper than a seagull's cry over a garbage truck. The desert froze. Even the wind held its breath. Arnold clutched her skirt, leaving crimson fingerprints. Doris swallowed fear thick as a swallowed tooth crown. "We'll manage. Just a scratch." Lena arched an eyebrow, tearing open alcohol wipes. "Scratch?" Sergeant here nearly brewed himself into cactus tea. Her trembling hands cleaned Arnold's shin. Doris noticed the nurse rubbing her wrist, fresh marks from last night's insomnia battle. Pete kicked the truck's wheel. A loose drive chain clanged across the basin. Tension hung heavier than the approaching haboot. The road to San Antonio became their Via Dolorosa. Arnold vacillated between clarity and rage, demanding General MacArthur's return to the radio room. His midnight screams startled roadside motel owls, sending Doris hiding in shower stalls with Jim Beam. Pharmacy signs blinked like checkpoints on death row's final mile. Day 3 brought the stench of disintegrating porcelain. Rainwater from Seattle figurines mingled with Texan dust. Doris chucked the elephant statues into a gas station dumpster, muttering, "Fly free, babies. Show 'em your tusks." Fiesta San Antonio greeted them with mariachi trumpet blares and drunk cowboys. Arnold spotted a rhinestone-clad rodeo clown and howled, "Spy! Ground communications compromised!" His fist exploded a pill bottle, scattering antidepressants under 2 stepping boots. Lena snapped at Sunset Grove 55-plus community's gates. "Mrs. Walker, this isn't memory care. We don't have—" "He's not a parking lot corpse," Doris barked, signing the guest book with shaking script. Arnold unscrewed license plates, rambling about mission dossier forgeries. Cottage number 217 reeked of mildew and desperation. Sunlight through blinds sketched prison bars on walls. Doris arranged crippled figurines when Knox interrupted. A neighbor in a Dancing Queen tee barged in with brownies. "Martha Collins, your neighborhood sugar and gossip dealer." She thrust the pan at Doris, ignoring Arnold chewing packing foam. "Fresh meat for our Greek tragedy troupe?" That night, Arnold crammed his head in the microwave, screaming about CIA pie signals. Doris wrestled him free, realizing her palm frond ranch dream now circled the bathroom drain with opioid pills. Morning brought Lena waving Medicaid paperwork, 3 weekly nurse visits. The rest? She thudded a care manual thick as Seattle's yellow pages onto the counter. Doris brewed Lipton while Arnold twisted stove knobs. For half a heartbeat, she imagined him building a bomb from saucepans and Ritalin. "Easy there, Oppenheimer," she mumbled, spiking his apple juice with Risperdal. Martha's bridge club became confession hour. Between tricks, Doris learned 3 widowers beat cancer, while the woman in violet wig buried 2 husbands. "Love after 60's like washing red socks with whites," wheezed Jack, slapping down ace of spades. His tremor left sweat streaks on cards. Doris clenched her 3rd rubber when a neighbor kid burst in. "Your man's buck naked in the fountain." Arnold sat reciting Macbeth to koi fish. "Unsex me here, you scaly fiends." He splashed stagnant water, eyeballs rolling like slot machines. Doris tripped over magnolia roots, plunging into sludge in her QVC dress. It's not madness. It's the friggin' water cycle. Martha peered over the fountain edge with practical calm. My Ron threw watermelons at CNN during election debates. She tossed Doris a Texas flag beach towel. Stop by tomorrow. Whiskey honey cure for meltdowns. That night, Arnold sobbed for his mama's porch swing. Doris played scratchy Tom Jones cassettes. When Delilah crackled through blown speakers, he suddenly gripped her wrist, whispering, "Your hair smells like blue bonnets." Dawn found her counting the Freedom Fund. 15K became 13K after fountain fines. Empty Jug Club members arrived with pecan pies and confessions. My Edna shaved her dead husband's legs 5 years, said corpses prefer smooth. Dread lingered like medical tape residue. Doris hid morphine vials in Folgers cans, pretending to obsess over fair trade beans. Martha found an ampule in the sugar bowl and winked. Tramadol pecan pie recipe numbs brains better than Patron. The crisis hit on sweat-drenched September morning. Arnold forgot how to swallow. Oatmeal dribbled down his I Love Say shirt as their daughter's call came. "Mom, court-ordered capacity evaluation. Sorry, but..." Doris tossed the phone into the fridge beside insulin vials. Midnight unpacking revealed Carol's legal letter, hearing set on their Pearl anniversary. She laughed at cosmic jokes until Arnold shredded sheets, raving about traitors in the radio. Sunrise found her gulging cold coffee on the porch. Martha materialized with hard cider and Alamo Sunset puzzle. Remember Art Guinness? Drank himself dead while Irma cut X's from photos. She popped cider caps, jabbing at Puzzle Sky. Now they're both gone, so's damn Alamo. Doris fingered a cloud-shaped piece when door slammed. Arnold stood framed in daylight, her shrunken wedding dress straining his shoulders, face twisted in terror or triumph. The wedding dress hung on Arnold like a parody of their first night. Pearl buttons popped open, lace collar twisted sideways. Doris froze with a puzzle piece in hand, reality warping as if she'd stepped into a funhouse mirror. Martha snorted, taking a swig of cider straight from the bottle. My Ron always preferred my stockings, said he looked like a hoofer in dresses. Arnold stumbled forward, tripping on the hem and crashing to his knees. The shatter of Royal Albert china sliced through silence. Doris hadn't even felt the teacup slip from her grip. She scrambled toward him, grabbing his shoulders, refusing to see the lace sleeves splitting at the seams. "All clear, soldier. Mission accomplished," she whispered, peeling the dress off. Arnold's eyes darted like mice in a trap's final moments. The phone whined from the refrigerator again. Doris dug her nails into the Texas cactus-patterned rug. "Not today, Carol. God damn it, not today." Martha stood brushing porcelain shards from her skirt. "Honey, you're trying to assemble a puzzle with oven mitts." She produced a pill bottle from her purse. "Duet prescription. Your dose, his dose, and the world gets a little blurred around the edges." Arnold growled, tearing off the last shred of fabric. His body, once taut as a ship's rigging, now resembled a dried-up riverbed mapped with bruises. Doris threw an Afghan over him, recognizing teeth marks on her own wrist from last night's struggle to break free. The bathtub gushed lavender-scented bubbles, Lynn's housewarming gift. "For relaxation, Mrs. Walker, once a week for appearances." Arnold screeched, clawing the doorframe as Doris wrestled him into the water. Their flailing resembled circus bears under a collapsing big top. The kitchen clock chimed 10 when Martha left, promising to send Jack over with seductive tea. Doris rested her head on the tub's edge, watching suds erase pudding from Arnold's chin. "Remember our honeymoon? You said I smelled like jasmine and guts." His fingers suddenly touched her neck mole, where he'd always kissed before dawn shifts. "Darling," Arnold's voice crackled like thin ice. Doris held her breath, fearing she'd shatter the moment. "I lost our coordinates. Where's our artillery support?" A tear hit the water, spreading rainbow oil slick. "Care to lead this tango, Captain?" She pressed his wet palm to her cheek, feeling time become a stretched rubber band. Arnold nodded, tracing her wrinkles like treasure maps, their moment shattered by knocking. Jack stood framed in daylight, thermos in one hand and WD-40 in the other. Martha said, "You've got a Vietnam flashback situation." His gaze moved to Arnold, splashing with rubber ducks. When Bessie went in 90, Jack paused, greasing the creaky cabinet door. "We took her to Grapevine Falls. Last 3 days she called me Socrates, kept asking directions to Atlantis." Doris clutched the thermos, chamomile and bourbon biting her nose. "How did you—" "Drank till I saw her in cloud shapes. Learned to smile when dead starlings fell in my pool." Jack snapped the grease gun. "Now hand over our philosopher. We'll patrol under moonlight while you take your knockout drops." Their system: 3 nights weekly, VFW buddies patrolled with Arnold, feeding peanut butter bread to pigeons, arguing over 1966 beer brands. He'd return smelling of Aqua Velva and veteran kinship. Carol called daily at 7:15 a.m. Doris counted 5 rings before the machine answered with "Williams and Associates. Leave a message." On October 14th, she cracked. "Stop burying us alive. He's breathing, damn it. Knows my name." Paper rustled through the line. "Mom, guardianship hearings the 20th. Dr. Shaw will—" Doris slammed the receiver into the microwave, nuking it on high. Arnold cackled, tossing napkins into his cereal. Shock treatment, modern science. Dr. Shaw arrived Monday with a blood-red notepad and schoolmarm glasses. Doris scrubbed cranberry juice from the carpet as Arnold, wearing 3 shirts, chalked perfect bunker blueprints on the wall. "Mrs. Walker, I'd like to—" The doctor ducked a flying valerian vial. Arnold shouted, "Code red," dousing a plant with apple juice, convinced she was KGB. Doris watched notations unfold. Subject displays aggression, pathological object attachment, as a Royal Albert saucer smashed near the doctor's head. While Dr. Shaw fled apple-splattered, Jack intercepted her at the gate. Through the screen door, Doris caught fragments. Danger, involuntary commitment. The wind carried festival corndog grease and century-old fears. That night, she flushed Arnold's hidden Gilby's gin. Cicadas sang as Lenny Bruce's laugh track bled from Martha's TV. 3 a.m. found Doris in the walk-in. $15K had dwindled to 6. ER bills, hush money to Lynn. Arnold entered trailing a blanket cape. "Darling, where's my sidearm? They're crossing the river." She handed him a comb. "Armor-piercing rounds. Aim for mirrors." Dawn caught her listing, urgent sales. Tea-sets, vinyl records, the Argus camera. Tears smudged, porcelain elephant, ear chipped, from Dallas Goodwill. Behind her, Arnold rolled an orange singing, "Fly Me to the Moon." 10 a.m. Doris stood outside number 12 with Royal Albert china. Inside smelled of cinnamon and dachshunds, her mother's Idaho kitchen. Selling or hiding evidence? Martha appeared with green tomatoes. Rita wants Satanist vegan wedding gifts. Sunrise found her gulging cold coffee on the porch. Martha materialized with hard cider and Alamo sunset puzzle. Remember Art Guinness? Drank himself dead while Irma cut X's from photos. She popped cider caps, jabbing at puzzle sky. Now they're both gone, so's damn Alamo. Doris fingered a cloud-shaped piece when door slammed. Arnold stood framed in daylight, her shrunken wedding dress straining his shoulders, face twisted in terror or triumph. 2 El Paso bus tickets lay exposed. Dreams of stargazing in desert now crossed into Mexico. Cheap meds, lax laws. Her go bag held passports, morphine, Snickers. The Freedom Fund rustled, $950 and Rita's foil crucifix, for luck. 4 a.m. garage escape. Martha blocked her path. Suicide run or freedom ride? Moonlight sculpted trash cans. Mexico, then Canada. Maybe Nebraska barn. Arnold chewed seat belts in back. Tell them we're alpaca farming. Martha slapped the hood. Buy cactus print diapers. Aesthetic matters. Doris gunned the engine, watching number 217 become dollhouse-sized. The vacant depot's clerk slept behind record October heat headlines. Arnold glared at soda machine, muttering about spy dead drops. 2 for El Paso. Bills slid through plexiglass. Gate 2, restrooms 100 miles. They sat beneath life insurance ads. Arnold picked at floor tar as bus roar approached. He suddenly gripped her hand, scared child in crowd. "Darling, you always lose things." Her laugh sob choked. "I won't. Never." She froze. Cop car, idling exit. Arnold snapped salute. "Sergeant Walker reporting. Perimeter secured." Chaos erupted. Arnold accusing cops. Bus horn blaring. Ambulance lights flooding the lot. Last memory before red swirls. Smug face in black sedan. Dr. Shaw's accomplice. Gray Angel come collecting. The ambulance reeked of Lysol and someone else's forgotten demise. Doris gripped Arnold's wrist, feeling his pulse sync with the strobing emergency lights. A doctor in blue nitrile gloves struggled with an oxygen mask as the patient thrashed, screaming about gas attacks near Hugh. "Ma'am, step back." An orderly blocked her with his shoulder like she was paparazzi. Her fingers clawed at Arnold's hospital gown, sewn from old fatigues. The fabric ripped at the seams, revealing a patch reading "Silence, Charlie's inbound." "He's scared of white coats. Let me..." Her plea died when a police notepad pressed against her sternum. The man from the black sedan clicked his ballpoint pen stamped with Mercy General's logo. "Mrs. Walker, you've violated 7 provisions of the conservatorship. We're required to..." Sirens drowned his words. Arnold whipped his IV pole like nunchucks against the ceiling light. Doris lunged to shield him. The impact tore through her temple. The world dissolved into supernovas, and the echo of their 1979 laughter when they'd first signed papers on that godforsaken Victorian. She woke on a bleach-scented bench next to Martha, tapping her stride-right pumps in a tango rhythm. "Classy exit, kiddo. Now we've got matching war wounds." She flipped her bangs to reveal a scar. 1968, soup pot versus Ron's cheating grin. Love's all sacrifice and no sirloin. Doris touched her bandage, the medical tape stealing gray hairs. "Where is he?" Her voice crackled like a wildfire-ravaged Joshua tree. Martha nodded toward steel doors. "Getting the Hannibal Lecter treatment, or maybe the plush room special." She swiped cherry chapstick across Doris's lips. Carol's on the red eye, filing transfer papers in Amarillo Court. The floor tiles swam. Doris clutched the bench arm, recalling teaching Arnold to swim in Lake Tahoe, his hollering about water cold as mama-in-law's heart. Now she drowned in a waiting room where clocks showed Eastern, Central, and Mountain Time. Jack arrived with gas station coffee sloshing onto his Purple Heart ribbon. "They're transferring him to St. Margaret's 6th floor." He shoved a crumpled MapQuest printout into her hands. "Say you're his sister. Their security's leakier than my ex's alibi." The Greyhound got stuck behind a Veterans Day parade. Doris counted snare drum beats as the driver cursed in Spanglish. 3 Xanax bars burned in her pocket, lifted from Martha's purse. She crunched one, bitterness mixing with false courage. The nurse with a neck tattoo clicked her keyboard like sending SOS. "End-stage Alzheimer's requires palliative care." Her eyes dropped to Doris's shaking hands. Visitation Saturdays 9 to 11. They passed posters of grinning seniors playing bingo. Arnold lay restrained in a room with barred windows, mouth gaping in a silent scream. His eyes darted like trapped minnows. Doris touched paper-thin skin he'd once lit like cigarette rolling paper for laughs. "Soldier, I brought..." She froze, remembering security confiscated his duffel. A rasp interrupted. Darlin'," stretching the word like taffy. A nurse with dragon ink wheeled in meds. Tried yanking his catheter, had to snow him. The needle pierced bruised flesh. Memories surged. Their first kiss behind the Ford dealership where Arnold detailed cars. 18 and 21. The stink of WD-40, their perfume. Home smelled of wind whistling through rotary phone lines. Jack waited on the porch with a blowtorch and Coors Light. Game plan? He popped a tab with his buck knife. Doris stared at Martha's pink lawn flamingos. Carol's flipping the house Thursday. Moonlight guided her to Jimmy's rusting Harley, Martha's Afghanistan widowed husband. The leather jacket hung loose, reeking of Copenhagen and regret. The engine protested before roaring to life, spewing blue smoke. St. Margaret's sixth floor glowed. Doris climbed fire escape grates, heart hammering like 45 RPM vinyl. She sliced restraints with Lillian's pinking shears. Extracting Captain Courageous. Ura. Their descent took 33 minutes, hiding in cadaver elevators, tumbling through azaleas. Arnold mumbled about mortar fire but followed. When the Harley snarled, he laughed, that sharp, alive bark from their drive-in days. Her tear mixed with gasoline fumes under the helmet. They tore down Route 90, passing pork semi-trailers. Arnold's grip tightened at her waist, breathing her through helmet vents. Doris whooped as the speedometer hit 85. Two brittle-boned rebels flipping off gravity in geriatric psych wards. Dawn found them at a New Mexico truck stop. Arnold crumbled churros over the gas tank, powdered sugar snowing on his VA blanket. "Darlin'," his voice clear as desert rain, "remember Memphis 65? She turned, dropping her canteen. His eyes shone with recognition, sun breaking through dementia's fog. He traced her cheekbone like their wedding night. "Still the prettiest doll at this hoedown." They kissed to 18-wheeler horns as bugs kamikazed against headlights. Arnold coughed scarlet onto Doris's scarf. "Reckon my tour's up," he smiled with 21-year-old eyes from a Vietnam snapshot. "Thanks for... His head lolled against her shoulder, light as an empty prom dress. She sat cradling him until Navajo's sun burned off dawn. School buses honked, kids shouted, world reshaped itself around her silence. Martha arrived first in a gold-flaked Ram. She produced a pistol-shaped tequila bottle and 3-string Gibson. "You won, you crazy broad, sorta." Doris nodded. He knew me. At the end. Martha crowned Arnold with a Resistol stolen from Walmart. "Next jailbreak, I'm riding shotgun." Geriatric gangs got a recruitment drive. Smoke blended with dust, conjuring westerns where heroes vanish before credits roll. When the coroner left, Doris leaned on the Harley, listening to power line vibrations. Fingers trembled, gathering churro crumbs. Her pocket burned with Route 66 rally tickets bought with grocery money. Black sedan tires crunched gravel. Doris kick-started the engine as fear became rocket fuel. The suit emerged waving subpoenas. "Mrs. Walker, you're..." The Harley's growl drowned his words. She peeled out, circling him like a show pony around barrel kicks. "Stop!" dissolved in exhaust thunder. Speedometer needle danced. 95, 110. The road blurred into time-lapse. Beware rattlesnake sign, derelict Dairy Queen, crows scattering, near canyon curves, chrome glinted, silver-bearded bikers with Vietnam vets MC patches. The ringleader stomped his prosthetic. "Fall in, sister. We're hauling ass to Pacific or die trying." Doris grinned. First real smile in decades. Freedom smelled of unleaded and creosote. She throttled forward, catching Arnold's reflection in the mirror. Cowboy hat silhouette waving a Semper Fi flag in the dust plume.